Hello, it's 9 p.m. in RTD. It's time to English New Edition. For tonight headlines. We have Minister of Defense inaugurate a new service of the anatomopathology at the military hospital. For the international scene, global warming, Venice, the city of love, is submerged. A call to donations is launched. Welcome to our newsroom. The Ministry of Defense has inaugurated a new laboratory for the anatomy pathology department at the military hospital in the presence of the Chief of the General Staff of the Armed Forces, General Zakaria Sheikh Ibrahim. The laboratory of the anatomopathology department, which does not exist in Djibouti until now, will allow the recognitions of the anomaly in the cells and tissue of organism called lesions, and then carried out the diagnosis of prognostic disease and more generally understand their causes and mechanisms. Early in the mornings of Saturday, November 16, 2019 at 7 EM, the military hospital Umar Hassan al-Bashir hosted a ceremony to inaugurate the new laboratory for the anatomopathology department, chaired by the Minister of Defense in charge of relations with Parliament, Hassan Umar Muhammad Burhan. This ceremony was attended by senior officials of the Djibouti Armed Forces. An important delegation led by the Minister of Budget, Abdul Karim Aden Sher, is currently participating in the 12th editions of the International Middays Forum, which is being held from 13 to 16 November in Tangier, and the theme Global Crisis of Trust, How to Face Uncertainties and Subversion, with a series of themes on the agenda ranging from economic growth to the complexity of the North-South dialogue, including security challenges. The Middays Forum, which is held every year in Tangier in November under the patronage of King Mohammed VI, is initiated by the Amadeus Institute, which is at the same time a center for reflection, advice, dialogue, proposals, and consultations, but also a platform for exchanges, meeting, and North-South and South-South cooperation. The Middays is an international event and a real institution for a North-South dialogue and high place for meetings and exchanges of global actors from the geostrategic, political, economic, and social spheres. Following his tour in Oboch, the Minister of Health, Mohamed Warsama Diriye, and the Secretary of State for Youth and Sport, Hassan Mohamed Kamil, went to Dalayaf, about 30 kilometers from the capital, so in the company of the Prefect Abdul Malik Mohamed Benoita. The ministerial delegation conducted guided tours of these health posts under the guidance of the Military Hospital Center Chief Medical Officer is Medical Dr. Ibrahim Muhammad Dimbio and the Dalai of Major Nurses. It should be noted that this visit is part of the Minister of Health outreach towers to the Hayu Health Center. Thus, the Minister of Health and his delegation were able to assess the state of play in order to assess the quality of the services provided and the minimum packages of activities provided. The ministerial delegation then met with the residents of Dalayaf to listen their opinions on the activities of these health posts in order to note major health-related issues. The members of the delegation therefore took note of the various concerns while clearly answering the residents' questions. The advisor to the president of the Djibouti Ports and Free Zones Authority, Mohammed Adam Waberi, known as John, and the administration director of this entity, Mohammed Adam Sheikh, received yesterday morning the ambassador of the Queen of Great Britain, Dr. Alistair MacPhail. He was accompanied by the honorary consuls of the Great Britain in Djibouti, Alan Martinet, the first secretary of the embassy, Jane Baxter, and the representative of the Department of International Trade of that country's Ivo Monroe. Dr. Alistair MacPhail had come to Djibouti to acquire information about our infrastructure. In this sense, a presentation on the projects carried out and those to come was made to them. Then the two parties discussed ways in which Britain's companies should take advantage of the opportunity Djibouti offers. The Independent Cat Import Union, called Barwako, held its General Assembly yesterday, Thursday, under the chairmanship of Mr. Ahmed Hassan Iltire, Union President. This session was held in Ahmed Saleh's room for the ceremonies in the presence of its member to discuss the Union's financial account for the last 6 months' income and expenses. During these sessions, the Union's Chief Financial Officer, Mr. Abdulrazak Mohammed Bile, presented projections and writings report on the Union's revenues and expense from January to July 2019. In recent months, the Barwako Union for the Import of Independent Cat has purchased a number of trucks to transport cat from Ethiopia to Djibouti. For his part, Ahmed Hassan Iltire, president of the Barwako Union of Independent Importers, stressed the great importance of this session to review the union's financial account and inform members of the results of its effort over the past 6 months. He stressed that the union members had expressed their satisfaction with these results, which reflects the integrity and transparency of the management of the union's financial account. Mr. Ahmed Hassan expressed his thanks and gratitude to all members who responded to the invitations of the participants in these 6 months plenary sessions of the union. The Community Management Committee of District 4, District 6, Hayable, and Sheikh Musa organized last week days dedicated to children's sanitation. Indeed, these days had a double objective to raise awareness among the household of this neighborhood. Its cleanliness awareness activities are part of the national program sponsored by UNFD and entitled the Program for the Protection and Promotion of Children's Rights, including those focused on their health of the many mothers from the different sectors of these neighborhoods gathered at the association's headquarters to benefit and follow the advices of the member of the CDC of their and how to preserve food and nutrition as well as hand washing for children in their respective home in the presence of Mr. Halima Noor, supervisors of the programs of the UNFD, the member of the Community Management Committee of Neighborhood 4 and Neighborhood 6 succeeded each other at the microphone to attract parents to the importance of the program. As part of a project in support of Civil Registry Service, the State Secretariat for Decentralization, through its Director of Decentralization, Mr. Yusuf Abdullah Hassan, has organized on 13 to 14 November 2019, with the financial support of the UNICEF, a training course aimed at strengthening the capacity of civil register and officials in the Dakhel region. This training, which was attended by executives from various institutions in charge of civil status, such as the Regional Council, Prefecture, and the Dakhel region, aimed to improve the services provided to the population in the file of civil status. This training activity was the culmination of a civil status awareness mission that began on 11 November last and which led the officials of the State Secretariat in charge of decentralization in the rural localities of the 3 sub-prefectures of the Dakhel region where the issue of birth registration was raised. The Secretary of State for Decentralization, represented by the Director of Decentralization, Mr. Yusuf Abdullah Hassan, would like to thank the authorities of the Dakhel region for their effort in ensuring that this mission went smoothly. He welcomed the organizations of this training for civil servants and thanked the State Secretary for Decentralization and UNICEF for their support. As part of the water hygiene sanitation project and with the technical and financial support of UNICEF, the association ADIM, Association for Development of Mabla, an official launch workshop of the program entitled Project to Improve the Hygiene Conditions of Community living along the migrants corridors in the region of Arta, Tujura, and Obok, which will cover 11 villages distributed among these 3 regions. The workshop was attended by the Deputy Prefect of Tujura and Arta, representative of the regional councils, local elected officials from the intervention areas, head of the target localities, and civil society organizations, Tujura Associations of Committed Women, the Tujura Association of Women, and Tujura Association of Fishermen. At the end of this intervention, the president of the association, ADIM, Mr. Ahmed Hassan Hamadou, took the floor to recall the experiences and achievements of his organizations in the field of water, hygiene, and sanitation, while expressing loud and clear the support of UNICEF and the beneficiaries for the facilitation of the reception and implementation of the project, to whom he expressed his deepest thanks before urging communities to use and maintain latrines and to distribute the project's goods and services equitably through solidarity and mutual assistance, and to make the project's contribution sustainable. After having defeated the national team of Mayotte, the Sharks of U15 Red Sea have just majestically beaten yesterday the 11 of Réunion Island, and the match is disbalanced by a score of 5-3 in favor of Djibouti. During the first period, our national team had dominated the games with 2 goals to 1, and it was when the game is resumed with the Réunionists tied, immediately the Sharks escaped and scored a 3-round goal, which makes 3 goals to 2. A few minutes later, the Sharks scored successively 2 goals for a few minutes before the end of the match. The Reunion found the opportunity to score a 3rd goal finally, the Sharks won with 5 goals to 3. With 2 wins to our credit, our U15 national team has qualified for the final phase of the tournament. Yesterday, Friday, at the end of its elective General Assembly, the Djibouti Federation for Underwater Sports and Rescue renewed its president for a 4-year term. The lucky man elected to head this august institution is no stranger in this environment. This is Mr. Ibrahim Mohammed Abdu, who is a federal scuba diving instructors and international rescue instructors. 32 vote against 7 allowed Ibrahim Mohammed Abdu to be re-elected before a jury composed of a bailiff, representative of the SEGS, and a representative of the Coast Guard and the Navy. Taking the opportunity, President Ibrahim said he was happy with his victory and promised to inject new energy into the development of his discipline in Djibouti. The country's Federation Dakaitorio continues its tour to the city of the Republic of Djibouti. Indeed, after the city of Al Sabih al-Dakhil and Arta, the federations of Dakaitorio organized a training course for practitioners with his support this week in the White City, Tajora. The training course was led by the international experts of Dakaitorio, Miss Melanie Shos. Thanks to the President of the Republic, His Excellency Ismail Omar Guelleh, this discipline, Dakaitorio, is a national discipline and thus becomes the only world discipline on the entire African continent recognized by his countries by presidential decree. For the international scene, submerged Venice, the call for donations is launched. Venice has recorded a new high tide peak measured at 1.54 on Friday. Tuesday evenings, Aqua Alta had reached 1.87, the second highest level ever set by the city of the Docks. The highest high tide was in 1966 and had reached 1.94. This Friday's Aqua Alta prompted the mayor of Venice to close St. Mark's Square to the public and launch an appeal for donations to finance the repairs. The city is classified as a World Heritage Site by UNESCO, and the damages amount to hundreds of millions of euros. On Tuesday, 14% of Venice was submerged by the muddy and salty waters of the lagoon. The Thursday's calms had raised hopes of a return to normal, but many institutions such as Guggenheim and Guggenheim Museum gave up on Friday to reopen their doors as they had originally planned. This is it for the news. Thanks for watching us.